Justice League Unlimited issue 3, Mark Waid writing with Dan Mora on the art. So this is where the Amazon rainforest is on fire, but it's not natural. There's like these pillars that are making it go on fire, and that's what the main focus of what the Justice League's up to during the issue. But you've also got Airwave hiding in the walls because he doesn't feel comfortable in his room, and Renee Montoya finds him and is like, "Hey, don't come and stay in here. You can stay in your room. No one's like going to throw you out or abandon you." All of this just, of course, making it's going to feel worse when they've all found out that he's been betraying them. So,
well, it's just like, I know why you're doing this, and you know what? I'm a detective. I figured all this out. You tried to hide it, but you can't. And he's thinking he's been found out, but she's like, no, you don't have a family to go back to like the rest of those lost children, so we can be your family. And you're just like, oh man, oh, it's gonna be so bad when they find out he's a bad guy.
Yeah, there's that. I think the standout for this issue though has got to be the little subplot, which is the Atoms and Plastic Man go to Linya from from the Terrifics, because it turns out like she and Plastic Man swap powers, and when they get there, Plastic Man keeps accidentally phasing through things because he doesn't know how to control them.
Yep.
But she, when they find her, is like, because she doesn't know how to control Plastic Man's powers, that means her entire body is just like a melted candle, and she doesn't know what to do about it.
Yeah.
And she's too embarrassed to like be seen by anyone or go outside. So she's delighted for them to test the power swapping back device on them, which does work seemingly. And
just her. When they go to her and she says, "Please, just I want to go home," it's so, man, so sad.
It's very, very good. So, yeah, the main stuff though is like Superman, Stripe, Stargirl, Wonder Woman, Star Sapphire, and Flash are dealing with the fires. And they realize that this isn't just regular flames; it's magical flames caused by, because when Superman tries to touch some of the flames, he ends up, having to freeze his hands to.
I do like that he's freezing his hands. Like when you go to grab, you go to grab the cookies out, but the oven mitt isn't working great, right? Yeah.
My mind didn't jump to baking cookies. I thought you were just talking about a packet of cookies that'd be like in the cupboard, and then you said, and I was like, oh no, it makes sense now because you said oven. Okay, yeah. I was wondering where you were going with that.
Got there, but yeah, and it's the same kind of fire that caused the death of the Green Martians for Jean too, that they mentioned. Is that like, wow, what do they call it? It's like the everlasting flame.
Yeah, something like that.
Something along those lines. You're like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And
they point out that they can't find Jean, but Batman's on the case. He's trying to find him.
Just follow the trail of Choco. Speaking of cookies, you'll find Jean there. You know?
It feels like eventually we're going to have to do some sort of Mars story or something, like just like a more full fleshed out thing to explain what's going on with these characters a bit more. But yeah, like I say, they find her and she's like sausage or spaghetti that's kind of dripping because she doesn't know how to control it, so it's all just melting into plastic. It's a real like sort of Hellraiser style visual.
Yeah, she's the lost Cenobite that doesn't want to be a Cenobite.
Yes. Which is weird because usually by the time they're Cenobites, they're like beyond the point of thinking it's like weird. They're like, pain, yes, no, this is my pleasure now.
Yeah, it's not pain or pleasure, it's yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. How do you torture a masochist?
Yeah.
Because they'll just love it. They'll just keep saying, no, don't do more. That'd be so terrible.
And what does Pinhead said? Angel to some, demons to, or I don't know the full line. That movie gave me the ick.
Oh dear. Well,
it's not a bad movie. I just don't ever watch it again.
It's a cheery romp, is what it is.
Yeah.
So eventually, Inferno, the big hooded figure, which seems to be the leader of Inferno, shows up, and so Superman or like as it goes on, they need Aquaman to go get Swamp Thing because they realize that the one thing that might fight the fire is the green. And it seems like that's what the villains are trying to do, because that's the thing. Like in issue 1, when they tried to like do the blow up or set fire to the mines, is like, okay, they stand to benefit financially from that because they're competition or whatever. but there's nothing to benefit from burning down the Amazon rainforest. All you're going to do is speed up climate change considerably and cause some problems for a lot of people, but not something that you can profit from.
And they're like, well, wait, if they do this, they can weaken the green, they can take control of it. And so that's the thing, is they're trying to get control of the green. So yeah, so they send Aquaman, and there's a slight tie to the current World's Finest story that's going on, with Floronic Man. And there's a little, editor's note that says, "Oh, see where these two interacted before." But it's weird that they're calling that they're addressing Swamp Thing as Levi, but Levi, I don't think is the Swamp Thing that's going to be involved in World's Finest. Right, so I mean, to me, as a fan of the character of Swamp Thing.
Well, yeah, to be fair, Aquaman says that. He says, "I went on an adventure with your predecessor." Once.
Did I miss that? Oh, I did miss that.
Yeah, he says that. Yeah, he says like.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, ignore what I just said.
Yeah. So you've got the character from was it Spirit World? Was the name of the book?
Yes, Xantha.
Yeah, Xanthi. That's the right one. So they're helping out and getting lots of stuff going. Just kind of cliffhangers after the whole what seems to be the destruction of Swamp Thing, because Swamp Thing just like it's like the fire comes up and takes him immediately, where it's like, oh yeah, you think Levi can save you. We can just make him turn on fire like the forest because he's the green. And sure enough, the issue ends with Swamp Thing seemingly burning to his death. I'm sure he'll come back, but he's not popping back up in 20 seconds, I'll tell you that much.
No. But yeah, Airwave there too. Not looking good. If this is a slasher movie, ain't looking good for Arthur. No. The call's coming from inside the house.
He might get to confess everything before he dies, but this could be it for him.
So, I keep thinking like they brought up Mars, they brought up these other, they brought up Jean and stuff. I feel like Wade's trying to make us think that that some contingent of White Martians is Inferno, and I feel that that's a red herring going on here. But I keep there's certain things, certain hints that it's going that way, and knowing that he's a student of continuity and whatnot, it wouldn't surprise me that the first Justice League story or Justice League Unlimited would be paying homage to that Morrison run a little bit.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I will have to wait and see. I can see them not revealing, some stuff until a little bit later, but. I mean, the art's obviously solid. Dan Mora does some really good stuff. I think maybe in the past month or so, because he's been doing 2 books a month, we've maybe commented that maybe some panels are a little bit more rushed looking than others.
Yeah.
But Rush Dan Mora is still better than a lot of artists, so it's not that much to complain about, really.
And there's nothing too egregious here. I think everything still looks pretty good. I can't pinpoint certain things that would be rushed. There's a lot of detail in that melting Phantom Girl, right? So, just pretty good all around.
Yeah. It's a very good. Honestly, it really does feel like an animated show. Like, it feels there's so many characters, there's so many things going on. It feels like the Justice League Unlimited cartoon. And it's fun. It's not like feeling like it's super hard hitting. I don't know if it's going to hit hard like, say, that scene in Detective Comics this week, but it's playing with a lot of these characters, and the fact that Plastic Man and Linya get to have a nice moment in this issue is just like, hey, we're going to spend some time actually developing some of these side characters a little bit. Not be a ton, because you can only do so much where you've got we'll develop Plastic Man a little bit in this issue, but he doesn't have his own book, so that's all he's getting. So we'll move on and do an issue maybe that focuses on whoever.
Well, in this book, we had Plastic Man, Linya, Dr. Occult, Xantha, the Levi version
Dr.
of Occult
seemingly runs to his... I mean, I'm sure he'll pop up later, but it looked like he ran to his death and got zapped out of existence.
Yeah. He faced it head on. We'll give him that. But yeah, no, it's... And we also got Stripe, too, there, right? We haven't seen Stripe in forever. In action, right? Like he's been the stepdad to Courtney.
I mean, season 1 of Stargirl must have been the last time.
Yeah.
And TV anyway. I don't remember the last time in comics.
Oh no, he was there in Stargirl when we were reading The Lost Children.
Oh,
at
you're
the
right. Yeah, he
beginning.
did show up. Okay, yeah, okay, that was actually not long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
that book, sadly for a Jeff Johns book, that was forgettable. The only thing that matters is that she brought a bunch of lost kids
Lost
from
sidekicks.
timelines and whatnot.
Yeah.
And
So
time travel.
to see them just pop up and be part of the Justice League is pretty cool. Does it make it feel like all hands on deck? And because we're so used to seeing the typical people, right? Like Zatanna showing up to help the Justice League. We've seen that how many times? Dr. Colt and Xantha, it does make it seem like a much bigger roster to pull from. So
Yeah.
Wade knows what he's doing.
All right. I'm trying to remember if there was anything other important we didn't talk about. I don't think so. So, yeah, okay. Go on, give it a rating.
Yeah, I'll give this a solid 8.
Yeah, it's kind of veering there. I think it might be the weakest of his issues so far of this particular book. I think just because it was cutting around so many characters, which the other issues have had, but there was maybe more of a hook by the end of them than perhaps this one did. So, yeah, I'll say. I'll say 7.5.
All right.